Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law for our Tuesday evening hangout roundup
Well, hello
question
everyone, and
answer
welcome to
stuff thing that
Uncivil
we
Law
do.
for our Tuesday.
So on Tuesday nights, we are trying to do a stream thing where I respond to questions, answers, give catch up, just whatever, kind of casual, kind of just hang out, see what the vibe of the chat is. So Sunday mornings we record for content. Tuesday nights we record just to say hello, do some Q&A, whatever, just good times. So this morning I had a 1 hour live stream with Nate Brody and Viva Fry that lasted for 4 hours. That was good. On the Michael Flynn, Judge Sullivan, DC, en banc, whatever, kerfuffle, drama thing. I'm running out of words to describe what this is, which is a little bit frightening because words is kind of at the hallmark of my profession. But there was a thing that occurred that involved Michael Flynn and Judge Sullivan and the DC Court of Appeals en banc. And it lasted for 1 hour, which was actually 4. And that was a thing that happened today. That was super, super exciting. Yeah, it was different. It was different. I mean, I kind of still feel my biggest takeaway from the whole thing is I kind of still feel a little bad towards Viva and Nate because I invited them for this 1 hour discussion, and they presumably told their significant others and or children that they would be gone for about an hour, which wound up more like 4. So I feel kind of partly responsible for that. I feel like it's partly my fault. I invited my friends for a light activity that turned out to be a much longer, more burdensome activity. So I feel like this is partially my fault. I'm so sorry. Oh man, yeah, it was not exactly what I asked them to sign up for. I feel like I'm partly to blame for this. So that's my biggest takeaway from the whole thing. And dealing with the technical issues and the sound issues, and even C-SPAN gave up after a while, which was pretty hilarious, and all that good stuff. So that was fun. Of course, the big news of this afternoon is not dealing with Michael Flynn or Judge Sullivan or the DC en banc, which is just as well because I'm ready to move on to other things in my life. The big news of this afternoon is Joe Biden has officially picked Camila Harris as his VP, which was a very likely choice. I thought in the end he would go with Susan Rice rather than Camila Harris. I think Susan Rice is a little bit more attractive as a VP candidate. She has more experience that I think is relevant to the position. I think she's less divisive a figure than Camila. I feel like she's generally more liked than Camila. I think she has even some cross-party Republican appeal, and Camila doesn't. So I thought in the end that Susan Rice would be a more likely choice. Also, her experience in the Obama administration made her a good choice to deal with the diplomatic stuff and foreign relations stuff, which is a large focus of the job of the executive is foreign relations. So it made more sense to me in the end that Susan Rice would be the nominee. I feel like she brings the experience and everything that Camila has to offer without the drawbacks. So I thought Susan Rice, well, without as many of the drawbacks. I mean, Susan Rice, of course, has her own drawbacks, to be sure. But I feel like Camila Harris is a much more divisive figure. I feel like it's much easier to attack Camila than it is to attack Susan. So I just didn't really fully understand that one. So it was a little bit weird, though, you know. So I didn't really quite 100% understand that pick. I suppose she's a little bit more diversity friendly than Susan Rice. Her experience, her the problem that her real problem is that there's all this anti. I mean, a one of her real problems is there's so much anti-police sentiment right now for some very good reasons. And Camila Harris's record as a prosecutor and attorney general is horrific. Her record as a prosecutor and attorney general is exemplar of the ways that being a prosecutor and being an attorney general can go bad. She was busted by the courts on more than one occasion in her roles as prosecutor and attorney general for withholding evidence. She fought a death penalty conviction when she had very good evidence on hand that she wasn't providing. The person was innocent. So she was keeping a person on death row, even though she had, and not turning information over until she got forced to by the courts. She has a record of, I mean, this was exactly Tulsi Gabbard's point that destroyed Harris in the debates, was that she has a long record of prosecutorial misconduct, both as a prosecutor and as an attorney general. And in a time when people are reasonably looking at the police and some of their tactics, Camila Harris's track record as a prosecutor and attorney general just seems like it raises all kinds of problems. She's a very, especially teared up with Joe Biden. I feel like Joe Biden needs to sort of run away from that image, and you have a person here whose most notable claim to fame, it seems to me, is as a person who was keeping innocent people in jail, denying them access to exculpatory material, flouting court orders, and otherwise engaging in a system that so many of the Democratic Party now considers to be broken. So it just seems odd to pick Camila because she has such obvious weaknesses when it comes to criminal justice and criminal justice reform at a time when that's what people are looking for. Whereas Susan Rice, also, I just don't think people like her personally as much as Susan Rice. I think Susan Rice has a much better reputation. She doesn't have the sandpaper-like persona that Camila does. Susan Rice is a lot more. I don't know if she's necessarily likable, but she's a lot less grating. She's a lot less offensive. So she's not necessarily likable, but she's not offensive. And Camila Harris has much more offensive qualities to her, and she doesn't have any of the drawbacks. So I don't personally understand the pick for Camila Harris over Susan Rice. And as I pointed out, I think Susan Rice has some crossover appeal from some Republicans, and I don't feel like Camila Harris really does that. So I think it's a really strange pick. I don't know what Camila brings to the party. What does she bring to the party? It's not like she brings the black vote. Joe Biden already had that. That's one of the reasons. That's the reason that he won in the end over Bernie, because Bernie couldn't get the black vote that Biden got. It's not like she brings him California. They were already going to win California. It's what is she bringing to the table that's a real positive? I don't quite understand. This is a strange thing to me. Yeah. So I don't quite get it. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Camila, yeah, XXX Windsor says, Camila, I've never seen a minority that shouldn't be in prison, Harris. That's what I say. Yeah, it's really, really, really weird. So I don't know what's going on. And of course, everyone is running under the assumption that there's a pretty decent chance that Camila Harris would become president at some point, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know what that means for the future of the nomination. I just don't feel like I don't feel like Camila Harris brings any assets, and she brings liabilities. So whether or not Trump can exploit those liabilities, it remains to be seen. Although Trump's pretty good, at least. It depends a lot, I guess, on whether there will be debates and how many. And I know the Biden campaign is trying to prevent there from being debates, which I find hilarious. But yeah, if there's a debate, that should be a lot of things to enjoy. So I don't know. Anyways, I will respond now to some comments from the prior week, and also intersperse comments from the chat that we're doing right now for the 45. And also, just on a brief note before I get into the substance, thank you to the 500 or so people who are watching the stream earlier today. I don't know how you guys did it. I don't know how the 500 of you who are watching for so long, but I appreciate it. And I think some of you wound up subscribing, so I'm not sure how many subs I picked up, because I'm not sure exactly how many I had before, but I feel like I picked up a decent amount of subs today. Maybe less than 100, but still it's something. So anyways, let's respond to some of these comments from the past week. Obviously not all of them, but just respond to some of them. I have too many windows. All right, that looks a little better. Yeah, this was a comment I noticed from Phantom Hived commented, for anyone who's concerned, from about 1 hour and 45 minutes onward, the trio starts answering for counsel for every question is posed, and you don't actually hear counsel's response. From there on out, I suggest going and listening to the arguments alone without these three musketeers. That strikes me as a very strange comment. Like, if you want the original unpaused and without commentary, why not just go watch the original? This is a comment I've seen at other reaction channels, where other reaction channels get comments in their comments, and I don't know that necessarily qualifies a reaction channel, but I guess for today's purposes we were. Anyways, where other reaction channels get these comments like, why are you pausing so much? Or why are you talking over the thing so much? Why don't you just let it play out? It's like, you're here to watch me, right? Presumably, you're here to watch my commentary and my critique. If you want to go watch the original uninterrupted and without commentary, why are you watching me? Why not just watch the original uninterrupted and without commentary? I mean, the value proposition that I am offering is precisely my commentary and critique. That is the value proposition of this channel. My commentary and critique. So if you're like, you're commenting and critiquing too much, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you. That's kind of what you're signing up for. If you didn't know that, let me advise you, that's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for my commentary and critique. If you're like, there's too much of it, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. That's a very strange comment. Phantom Hives, same guy, comments again. I know it's hard to make comments during something live, but sometimes you just commented to hear yourselves talk and we missed a good point or two. Again, I feel like you don't really understand the point of this channel. I feel like you don't really get it. Lights for Harry the guinea pig, fair enough. Having watched this, do I get a participation trophy? I feel like we all need to get 4 hours of our life back at this point, man. Oh, yes. No, the fish and water thing. The fish and water thing, we couldn't figure out. The 5-week-old dead fish, I famously commented many, many times because it struck me so dumb. I couldn't even believe I was reading it. But yeah, Trump can't interfere. That would keep Flynn from suing. I don't think Flynn can sue in any event, unfortunately. Who would he sue? He can't sue the prosecutors and he can't sue the judge. Both of them have absolute immunity. So the who would he sue? You know, he sue the FBI. I mean, I don't really see a civil suit that's going to really fly. So that doesn't really make sense. Flynn just probably wants to be acquitted. I don't know who he could sue successfully at this point. Didn't the Supreme Court rule a court can't force you to provide a password? Because I'd be saying something that provides testimony, but they can force you to unlock via fingerprint or facial recognition. No, the Supreme Court has never said something that clear. That is what everyone has deduced from the relevant case law, but they've never said anything that definitive to the best of my knowledge. Some commentaries with Aquila. Someone learned something in my qualified immunity case, which seems to be one of my best performing videos. It's got like 130,000 views or something ridiculous. So I'm not sure why people like that video in particular, but for some reason that video seems to rise above the algorithm. Oh yeah, I guess Flynn could sue his prior counsel, but him being pardoned wouldn't prevent that. His claim against his prior counsel would be for malpractice. So if Trump pardons him, that in no way like absolves his prior counsel of malpractice. So I mean yeah, that doesn't change that. But yeah, so he can sue his prior counsel, pardoned or otherwise. That doesn't yeah, that's not doesn't make a difference. This guy says, Oni-chan. Oni-chan says, I love the whiskey choice. It is a really good one, incidentally. I just saw the bottle and I was like, oh, that's really good. But it turns out that's really, really nice. It's very sweet. And so it's really, really pleasant to watch. So that was nice. Or drink, I should say. When thinking, debating informally, and having fun with friends, it's always appropriate to have a drink. Man, after 3 hours of whatever that was, I needed it. And then I set up a drinking game and I was worried about my liver, but it turned out that they didn't use the magic word for Sullivan's counsel. Apparently you only ask hypotheticals if you don't like the guy. So I don't know. They didn't use the magic word, so I just had to drink more anyway. This guy says only 2 hours. I want all four. Yeah, that's a famous YouTube processing thing. That is nothing to do with me, and it's just because of how YouTube processes video. So I don't know if you've ever done live streams for any channel that are longer than 2 hours, but when the stream is over, the all that's available immediately is the last 2 hours of the stream, while Viva does or while YouTube does whatever processing it's doing in the background. So that has nothing to do with me. But I think all 4 hours are now available for your viewing pleasure. Not that I'd necessarily recommend it, but it's available. First time to the channel, there should be a warning about full frontal texanity. I bet you like chili and barbecue, don't you? Yes, I like those things. In fact, I make a pretty decent chili. Kevin over here says he enjoyed our commentary. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. You don't understand something very important. They were cheaters of color, and so letting them cheat was to help dismantle racism. That's a funny comment. Very well done from whatever that name is supposed to be. It's the alphabet backwards up to H. I don't know how you pronounce the alphabet backwards up to H, but yeah. I'm not sure how to pronounce the alphabet forwards up to H either. Oh, I guess I do, because there was a sesame seed strong about it. How do you pronounce the alphabet forwards? Geez, it's been so long since I've listened to the song. How do you pronounce the alphabet forwards? It's like Apidecabibigophisoophis. It's the most incredible word I've ever seen. Appadecadoo, I don't know exactly what it means. Sometimes it starts like an A word, but then it gets very strange to me. Appadecadoo, it's the most incredible word I've ever seen. I've butchered Big Bird over here in my attempt to sing the song where you pronounce the alphabet as a word. Yeah, so anyways, sorry about that. Sovereign citizen gets smacked down during ongoing criminal trial. Reviewing a document from Pacer, a jury verdict was Aaron guilty. He filed a motion for a new trial or alternative directed version, which is denied. He plans to appeal. Good luck on that one. Yeah, yeah. You never saw that one where Big Bird tries to pronounce the alphabet as a word. It's yeah okay. Roast lamb shanks, which sounds really, really tasty right now, says, "Who would have thought an hour-long video of reading legalese would be so entertaining?" Well, I do try to make it entertaining, and I think I'm getting better at it. I have been pleased with the quality of my own videos because, for better or worse, I am the guy who rewatches my own content, and I think I'm getting better. So there's that. At least I'm seeing improvement. The Constitution doesn't say anything about separation of churches and restaurants. Enjoy. Okay. This guy says, "Great information. Thanks for the video." No worries. It was a lot of fun to make. Did I see you super chat on Viva Fry? Yeah. When I go visit my fellow YouTube lawyers, I usually give them a super chat. It's a way to show a little love and a little support. So, yes, I probably did super chat on Viva Fry, and I probably said something really snarky. I think what I've super chatted to Viva Fry was talk law to me slowly, whisper it, something like that, because that's the kind of thing that I would write in a super chat. You know. Prometheus says the ultimate irony is she's showing the same complete lack of self-awareness in her contact after a lawsuit. Yeah, her ability to self-perceive has apparently gotten no better in the intervening years somehow. Sean says I can't sing. Well, that's just mean, Sean. You hurt my feelings. Big Bird would say I could sing, and Big Bird would say that my singing is great. And Mr. Rogers would say that he loves me just the way I am. So, bugger off. Honestly, if I were a prospective juror, I'd still be ticked to have to sit through a history lesson, as though I'm too stupid to have an understanding. That too. Yeah, it is a little bit soldering. I love the takedown of woke garbage based on Struck and White. Excellent, very good. Kyle Grass dropping that knowledge. Who's Kyle Grass? Apparently that's me. Who's Kyle Grass, though? Hold on. He's an American musician, but I don't think he looks that much like me. So I'm not sure how you got to Kyle Grass. But okay, fair, I guess. The schools have unofficially declared themselves as islands where constitutional rights do not exist. A little bit, yes. It's been a problem since Tinker and probably before that. But yes, the intervening 40 years, 50 years, schools still don't respect the things that are going on. Watching you daily gives me a comment in chat saying, "You're still awake and functioning after the longest 1 hour oral argument." You know, I try to remain awake and functioning for you guys. You know, I tried. I said that I'm going to try to do these on Tuesday nights. This is the time that I picked as a weekly time, which seemed like a reasonable time to pick. We'll do them every Tuesday. Wednesday is my wine club where I get to get drunk, which I'm very excited about. Thursday is my discussions with Nate Brody. So, you know, and Sunday is my record day. So I am here for you. Oberlin doesn't think they can be held accountable for anything. Woke is not awake. Yeah, sometimes a little bit there, yeah. I'm sad knowing my homeschooled kid aren't getting socialized with kids and parents like these. I mean, unfortunately, for better or worse, kids and parents like these are part of the real world. So your kid probably shouldn't be aware of, be able to deal with these people because unfortunately, these kids will grow up and become the adults of tomorrow. So I understand what you were trying to say, but yeah. Quote of the day: the kids are sad and they're suing over the sadness. Yeah, that's slowly becoming a meme because it's just a way for me to describe what's going on in a case. So I've noticed myself using that phrase a lot more in lawsuits where I'm like saying the person is sad and they're suing over the sadness. So it's rapidly becoming a catchphrase for the channel, along with other catchphrases for the channel. The person is sad and suing over the sadness because I don't know. It strikes me as a humorous thing. It makes me laugh, and so I'm going to share my laughter with you. You know, they are sad and suing over the sadness. Yeah, that's good. Mr. Sinesta, I think, says in response to the iPhone password video thing, this would have taken this more serious if the idiot with the cowboy hat, that would be me, would stop smirking and smiling like this is funny. It is funny. And also, not to put too fine a point on it, but I am deliberately trying to make it entertaining. You know, it is serious, but if you can't laugh, you know, if you can't laugh at the stuff, all you do is suffer, right? So like you have to laugh at the comedy of bad stuff. I mean, it's a natural reaction to look at something bad and laugh at it. You know, if this goes way back to the gestures of old. You know, you make fun of things specifically because they are bad. It is a way to relieve the tension. Also, I am deliberately trying to make it educational. So, you know, I'm not trying to approach it somberly and like with stoicism. I am first of all, I'm laughing because I find the situations funny. They're funny for their horror or funny for their whatever, but they're funny. So I share my funny with you. If you don't share my humor, well, okay, you're entitled to your sense of humor. Find someone else, I guess. Um, that's one. And two, I'm just trying to make it entertaining. You know, so yeah, why don't we just try to make it fun, try to make it entertaining, while I'm also sharing some very serious information. You know, if I am not your cup of tea, that's okay. Maybe Legal Eagle is the presenter for you. Then he keeps saying we. He says we when he's talking about the court, the judge, and the officers. This guy needs a girlfriend or something. Well, I definitely need a girlfriend. I will agree with you there. But I do say we a lot because I am talking about you guys collectively as the channel, the people that are here. So, yes, sometimes I'll say we because I'm including you, because you're a part of the uncivil law community. Stephen Photos says, ignore the detractors, you're doing a great job. Well, thank you. I mean, I try not to let the detractors get into my head. But you know, I always welcome constructive critique. And this guy's like, you shouldn't treat this as funny. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm gonna point at it and laugh. That seems like a reasonable human reaction. Point at the horror show and laugh at the horror show. It's the half of the drama comedy duality. Seems like a reasonable reaction, so I don't know. You are uncivilians. You are great. Yes. So sometimes I'll say we when I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyways, this one. Sco points out the parents in lawsuit file a lawsuit that exposes the identity of their children that they left out in the correspondence. Yeah, parents of the year here. Streisand affect their own kids. Way to go on that one. Where's God? Why aren't churches speaking out about the corruption in Louisiana? I mean, I can't speak to what churches are saying in Louisiana or not, but you know, watching you and then watching you daily has really the best comment here on this whole thing about the funny and the laughter. Watching you daily says these people that are harsh in their comment have never had to sit through an actual law school lecture. Watching you daily, I for all you guys out there who have never watched a real law professor try to give a talk on YouTube, you're better off for it. You're better off for it. If you watch an actual law professor give a talk, it makes you want to die inside. It is dry, boring, horribly presented. There's no information. It is flat, unengaging, with horrific video and audio. It makes you want to die. It is not so bad. It is not so bad when you're sitting in the court, when you're sitting in the room listening to it. So when you're actually in the classroom and listening to it, it's not so bad. But when you watch it back on tape, my God, it just does not translate well to tape. And there's always that really high hiss because the gain is so high. And there's this horrible audio background because there's like a refrigerator running or something in all these videos, all of them. Don't go Googling from law professors at actual law schools. You don't want to go down that road. $5 from Ventissus Prime, who says banana. Banan. Yeah, Nan. Ugh. No, Ben Stein has a dry delivery that's very engaging. You may not like Ben Stein, but his dryness, I enjoy. Law professors are like, they got nothing going for them. Okay, truthfully, who heard in the professor's voice, Windstrom? Yeah, I kind of missed on that one, or I would have made a point of noting it during the stream, but I missed that one. Ventissus Prime, who I just responded to in a chat, says, long time, no watch your stream. I see the channel's going quite a bit. Yeah, we had like 1,080 people or something become subscribers in the last 28 days, and we are on the verge of 10,000. The 10,000 subscriber special will be released any day now. Very exciting. So the parents' first name are used in lieu of the children? Yes, also because they're the ones technically suing. They're suing as what's called a next friend, which just is basically as instead of, right? Yeah. After this podcast, I think we should nominate Nate for sainthood. I'm not sure exactly why. Presumably that has something to do with being around me or being patient with me. So I'm assuming that's a slight at me. Your slight at me is duly noted. Careful that line of thinking about delegating rights. We don't have others to lead, questioning authority in government. Okay. Steve Leto. Steve Leto's a good commentator. Not sure he likes me, but that's okay. He doesn't have to. We're different people. This guy says, Reaper says he agrees it's not quintessential fair use. Yeah, I still don't think it is. Yeah, I think we crossed 600 viewers at some point today on the stream. I don't know that we got too many of them. I think something like a tenth of them became members. I think we gained like 80 subscribers. I won't know till tomorrow for the analytics are available, but I think we gained 80 subscribers from the stream today. But I think we crossed 600 at one point. Yeah, the actual official court thing had like 8,000 and we had 600. I'm like, 600 people want to watch me rather than the court stream. I'm like, okay, that's the thing that's happening. George Floyd wasn't murdered. Okay, well, yeah, he might not have been. The video that was made available recently with the revised video does make the legal proposition a lot more dubious than it was before. David Friedman, how much have you read or interviewed David Friedman? How much do you need to review or interview David Friedman on the topic of death penalty ethics? Is he one of the guys at the Innocence Project? I mean, I would have no objection to talking with him or interviewing with him. I don't know if he'd have any interest with me, but maybe I should reach out to the people of the Innocence Project. It might be an interesting discussion. So I'll think about it. $5 from Ricardo Ospania, another live stream. I'll buy that for $1. I mean $5. Thank you. I appreciate you buying it for $1 times 5. Yeah. You know, Ricardo gives me $1 in the same way that the court argument lasted an hour. That's basically, yeah. Ricardo gave me $1 for the 1 hour of oral argument that we all experienced this morning. Oh man, that was a lot. Oof. Dirk says so much entitlement. Yeah, those people were entitled. Yeah. Oh man. Jeffrey Robinson says, believe all women unless they're making charges against senior Democrats. Seems that way. Apply law in such a way that any charge by a woman amounts to irrefutable proof, again, unless Democrat, and such are true even if the facts are in question. Yeah, that does seem to be the case sometimes. That the getting the questions in advance were peak bulldozer parenting. And also filing lawsuits, pretty peak bulldozer parenting too, yeah. Is it a joke? I don't know. Was it funny? No, unfortunately, it was real. The parents really did apparently obtain the questions in advance and really did definitely sue the school for it. So, yeah. Ricardo Osmania is in chat saying, I tried to watch the replay, but 4 hours is too long. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend rewatching that video, man. It wasn't that great the first time. It went on and on and on, and after about 2.5 hours, I think it's possible that my conscience left my body. It was a lot. Never sleep. I admire that. I do it for you guys, man. Where do I find cases? The cases I cover I find from a variety of different websites that are different. There are different legal blogs. There's Vola Conspiracy, Above the Law, How Appealing, Tech Dirt. There's a forum on Reddit that I review and get story ideas from. Of course, just from the news. I read Google News, so sometimes I'll see stuff pop up in there because I have some alerts for Court of Appeal cases. So I get it from a combination of places. If you're ever looking for a legal case that I cover, you should go to Google Scholar. A standard Google search will not always reveal a court case that I cover, but if you go to scholar.google.com and select the case law button, you'll find it there. And sometimes I download it from there specifically. But you can pretty much always find anything I cover on scholar.google.com. A standard Google search may not reveal it, but if you go to Google Scholar and look for the case law under the case law tab, that's how you can find it. find the case. In terms of where I find the stories, from the websites I just mentioned, and I'm sure there's others, but those are the big ones. You went with howdy y'all, haha. I don't know if howdy y'all as an introduction to my videos is really me. I did it to try to see what it felt like, but I don't know that's really me. So I don't know that I'll keep doing howdy y'all, but it was fun to try. Yeah. Imagine if there's some corporation like Disney filed a lawsuit with a film critic. How long am I in this stream? 42 minutes and Nate is on. I have to go over to Nate's channel and super chat at Nate. I'm gonna go super chat at Nate real fast. Just super chat. Do you sleep? Give me a second.
It is. We can hear you now.
Oh, there it is.
I'm gonna super chat him. Give him $2. Do you sleep? Question mark, smiley face. Super chat. Nate Brody. $2. Bye. Excellent. All right. So that takes care of that. Could I make the commentary afterward available separately? I had to leave and missed it. I don't know what you mean. If you mean the stream from this morning, it should be up and available now. It might not have been available earlier today because when YouTube does its processing thing, but it should be available. There's nothing that I'm stopping to keep it from doing it. I think I'm going to go for another 15 minutes or so, and then I'll stop to give Nate Brody some air. So we'll go raid Nate after this. So everyone we'll do like a Twitch raid, and we'll all go over to Nate Brody's channel together, and we'll do a Twitch raid. So that'll be fun. We'll do that in 15 minutes. This guy, Live Fast Die Young, says, this is hard to listen to with how often you repeat yourself. That is a very, very fair criticism. I do repeat it myself a lot. Some of that is in a desire to communicate particular ideas. Some of it is a desire to try to explain, and some of it is just a natural artifice of my speaking. But for example, I'm watching things in real time on the chat, and sometimes people are saying that they are not getting things or they're not understanding things. For example, in my last batch record, I was doing a story on something. I can't even remember what it was because that was Sunday, which is, forever ago now. But there was someone in chat who said, like, I can't follow along with what you're doing, or I can't understand it. And so I kept trying to, like, re-explain it to hope that I was, because if there's one person in chat while I'm doing it saying I'm not getting it, I'm hoping that means, probably means other people aren't getting it. So, but I do repeat myself. And also, that's also an artifice of how the courts write, because if you ever read their opinions, they tend to repeat the same idea. So there's a lot of reasons for that. Not all of them are necessarily good, but I've only been doing this full time for about 8 months. My channel's 3 years old, but I wasn't doing stuff with it for a long time. So yeah, I'm getting better though, but it's a fair criticism. This guy, Wheels Pitch, mid-roll ad much. That's not on me, that's on YouTube, man. YouTube is choosing how many mid-rolls to do, and I think it's excessive. Air and liquid systems versus DeVry, old case. Why wouldn't the ex post facto clause apply here, since at the time of selling initialization of the process, it was unknown and it was harmful? Ex post facto clause only applies to criminal, not civil. That's the answer to the question. So you can retroactively do civil, but not criminal liability. That's how you. Did I ever hang up $20? No, but I should. Washington Daily says, I'll pay more attention, try to help explain stuff that they're not understanding. Yeah. It's tough. I'm getting better, though. Judge Wooten is female. Why do you keep saying here, dude? Because I just didn't know. It wasn't readily obvious, so I'm just used a default pronoun. Also, why are you assuming their pronouns, Richard? This Mark asked in the AG standing. I have to ask, are you drunk or stoned in this one? No. I'm 4 minutes in and cannot even listen to the rest of this. This is sad for me to say. I often hear you on other videos were fine, but wow, you sound messed up. Really? Was the AG denied standing in Portland a particularly bad video for verbal quality or my delivery? I don't remember listening back to it and thinking that, but maybe I should go listen to it again. No, not that I recall. I don't remember it being particularly bad, but Mark over here seems to think my delivery was particularly bad in that one. Okay. Legal Eagle is wrong on federal police. Love the laughter starting at 108.12. Yeah, I love laughing at Legal Eagle. It's fun too. Yeah. I despise civil asset forfeiture as conducted today, but to answer the question regarding the moral basis, the idea would be when you use property in commission a crime, that way it becomes an accomplice. Yeah, the moral basis for why the seizure is done is pretty easy. Like, if you earn the money illegitimately, you earned it illegitimately. It's illegitimate money, so you have no title to it, right? It's not really, it wasn't money you earned justly. If you earn $100,000 from drugs, well, you didn't really earn the money justly. So the idea of civil asset forfeiture and seizing the money that you earn from your illegal enterprise, yeah, it's pretty easy. The problem is the burden of proof and how it's actually done in the real world. The moral implication for it is pretty easy, but the standard is so low and it becomes just a piggy bank for the cops that the actual practical reality is immoral in practice, but fair point. This guy, in response to Louisiana corruption is super corrupt, says, all right, so what's new? Sounds like standing procedure for every city in the U.S. to some extent. That's very cynical, man. Trippy, in response to the iPhone password, says, can't he plead the fifth? No, he can't, for the reasons that we've talked about. I feel like these are the kind of questions, these are the kinds of questions that make me doubt myself as a legal educator. It's like, did you not listen to my video where I explained in some detail with some repetition about inevitability doctrine and how it doesn't qualify for self-incrimination because of inevitability doctrine and so forth and so on? It's like, these are the kind of comments that make me doubt myself as a commentator. Can't he just plead the fifth? Man, this entire video was basically why he can't. This entire video was explaining in some painful and somewhat repetitious detail why the principles under the Fifth Amendment don't apply. Yes, it's testimonial, but it's not incriminating because of inevitability doctrine and so forth and so on. It's like, man, makes me question myself. I thought I spent like 20 minutes trying to explain the answer to this question. And he's like, can't he just plead the fifth? I'm like, no. The answer is no. No. The Bowen Doctrine. For when it all goes to hell, I'm making a shirt from a guy named Ian Bowen. Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, Vintictius Prime. There's no way I'm pronouncing your name right. Let me Vintictus, whatever. Vintictus Prime says, having taught, I can tell you that most people will just miss the obvious. Yeah, it reminds me of something that Robert Barnes once said on a live stream with Viva. He said that he tried a case, and as is very typical, attorneys sometimes talk to the jurors afterwards. It's a very common thing to do. And one of the jurors said to Robert, in a case that he had just tried, to this particular juror, the juror said, "I really wish you had brought this point up." And Robert didn't say it then, but he mentioned it in the live stream with Viva. He's like, "Man, I mentioned that point like 100 different times, and they never heard me say it." So for all the people out there who are like, "Man, you are so repetitious," one of the reasons I'm repetitious is because I'm hoping to get the point across. Because it's like, man, no matter how much you try, man, it's rough sometimes. Excuse me. Damn country is falling apart and stupid courts are getting involved in some high school drama. Well, when the high school drama includes the First Amendment, that is part of their role. But it's always hilarious when they get involved in the high school drama. Not only in the cheerleading case, but also the case of Eck. We all remember Eck from the Ole Valley School District and the drama of the drama club, the best drama of all. Epstein didn't kill himself, but Akilah Hughes did. Nice. Also, I just saw that I learned two things recently. Glastine Maxwell, whatever her name is, Glastine Maxwell. Apparently, Glastine Maxwell, she is Victoria from Victoria's Secrets. I learned that recently. Apparently, Glastine Maxwell is Victoria from Victoria's Secrets. So, Victoria's Secrets was named after Glastine Maxwell, apparently. That was number one. And number two, she was just taken off of suicide watch. So, for all you guys, there are no more bets. There are no more bets on the betting pool on when she will remove herself from the equation. She's been taken off suicide watch. So, you think we'll make it past the end of the week before she also decides to remove herself from the equation? Because she's now off suicide watch, because that worked out so well for Epstein. Corruption good, honesty bad. Sometimes it sees that way, yeah. Sure, the cops have bad ones, but the governments don't pay the protesters. In response to like treating the idea that the idea of using the bad ones as part of the collective whole. I'm not sure how much the fact that the government is paying the police changes the logic of that, but okay. Ghislaine, yeah, maybe. Oh, the Vic Mignogna appeal brief. Some people still commenting on Vic. The appeal court limits how much text you can put in the documents. That's why they aren't listing everything. It's not, that's a really bad take, with all due respect. First of all, they didn't use all their word count. And second of all, if you have a limited word count, the challenge becomes how to use the word count to convey everything you need to talk about. So if you have 5,000 words, that's your limit. You don't write the first 5,000 words that come to your mind and be like, I wish I could write more. You write as much as you need to talk about everything. in the 5,000 words. It's part of being a good writer. So, yes, they have a word limit, but that's why they didn't talk about certain things. That's not really a good take, man. The word limit should not be the thing that's prohibiting you from talking about stuff. Rewrite. I can send you the contract Vic had with Comic-Con and the text messages. I don't care. I mean, with all due respect, I don't care. Because what is true in reality and what Vic and his lawyers successfully were able to prove are two completely different things. Did Vic actually have a contract with Comic-Con? Did the people actually interfere with him? Sure. Did Vic and his legal team actually prove that, though? That's an entirely different issue, my friend. I don't need to see the contracts and the text messages. I'll take your word for it because I don't care. The only issue I care about are the legal issues. And I don't think Ty Beard did a particularly good job representing Vic Mignogna in this lawyer's humble opinion. Okay, critique. Fair enough. Let's do a critique. You have a tendency to wear out your humor through repetition. Many times I found mildly amused only for you to tediously wear out the point. Quoting me, ouch, ow, that stings. Oh, that hurts me. Ow, that hurts. That's tough. She just called out hard by a Sing Court of Appeals job. Laugh. Okay, such comments are fine, but grows after 5 to 10, let alone 25. Less is more. Brevity is the soul of wit. That's a fair point, because I just critiqued Ty for the exact same thing. I don't know that that particular quote is really that bad, but, you know, okay. Fair enough. I'm getting better, though. I'm getting better, but I will work on the repetition. Vic Mignogna's coming on Vic Mignogna. Since you didn't see all the filings, I'll try to get them for you. I also highlight the most important parts to save time. I saw I've read 10 of the documents. I didn't read the second amended because it wasn't clear if it was operative or not. But I read a whole bunch of other stuff, and I do see that Google Share Drive, which has a whole bunch of stuff. So I don't think I need anything more, but okay. So some more commentary on Vic Mignogna. It's been a while since we talked about Vic Mignogna. So it's been a while since we talked about Vic Mignogna, and we had some commentary on Vic Mignogna. It's been a little bit now. Thomas Gabriel White says, when the lawsuit started, Ty Beard said the most likely thing they would do is file TCPA. After the filings by Ron and Monica were random and unpredictable and logical, Jamie Marchi was hiding from the process server, so it took a while for her to add to it. That's why they took a little evidence on her. And through all the businesses done in Texas, Funimation's headquarters in another state, so it took longer to get them. Despite Funimation being the last to join, they're first to file a TCPA. Well, if Ty Beard knew it was coming, he didn't do a great job in dealing with that reality. There were other things he could have done. Thomas continues, from what I've seen, Ty Beard is very competent with the arguments and the filings. And when he's made an appearance on Nick Rakita's live streams, he just makes a lot of mistakes when arguing in front of the judge, which I'm thinking is pretty common with lawyers. Yeah, not all lawyers are equally good arguing on their feet as they are on the papers. I haven't been especially impressed with the papers, but I did do that live stream react to the oral arguments, and it's like he didn't know what I was talking about. Thomas continues, maybe you should look at the filings made by Ron and Monica's lawyers. I did look at their filings. I looked at the original complaint, their response, the TCPA, their response, the appeal brief, and all their responses. So yeah, I've definitely looked at a lot of their stuff. Ty Beard might not have even done good in court, he admits it, but they had worse arguments in the filings. Ron and Monica's lawyers versus Ty? Maybe, but Funimation really had pretty good arguments, and they're going to carry the day. So, yeah, Funimation wasn't in this. It might be a different case, but Funimation is in this. One of the problems when you sue the big pockets is they have the best lawyers or they have better lawyers. So, yeah, it could be an issue. Can I turn on the dark theme in YouTube? I guess I could. I don't know how to do that right now, but maybe for next time. Jamie and Funimation's lawyers were actually competent in their arguments. Should look at the affidavits and unsworn declarations. Yeah, Funimation's lawyer did very good. It's clear that some mistakes were made. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. First, Vic tried to deal on his own without legal action, which could damage the argument he's not a limited purpose public figure. Then Ty Beard improperly notarized the affidavit and had to replace them with unsworn declarations, which resulted in a late filing, though technically the judge never said it couldn't be accepted, just said it wasn't looking at. Ty Beard was also a bit distracted in the hearing, probably because he kept making mistakes and he cares a lot about the case. He even promised Vic's mother he'd get justice for his son. Not looking too good, man. There's one part of the argument's overlooked. He keeps saying prima facie, which means they don't actually need to prove anything. They just have to show it's a reasonable conclusion based on the information they have. They have to show that on its face, yeah, the prima facie just means on its face, it's correct. Yeah, that you have enough information that on its face, it makes sense. Which the TCPA has done in the early stage of the lawsuit isn't a lot, which is exactly why you try to want to get stuff before you file it, if at all possible. And since Ty is in charge of filing the original complaint, and Vic knows like how he's been harmed because he knows of like the conferences that he's not gone to. A lot of this knowledge is stuff that Ty doesn't need to discover. Right? A lot of this stuff isn't necessarily, there's a lot of stuff that he could have done and isn't necessarily clear he did do before he filed that was within Ty's control because it was within Vic's control. Vic knows, for example, what conferences he's been to and what conferences he hasn't been to. He knows if he's received any emails that or phone calls or whatever from people that have been withdrawing from deals. So there, and you can hire a private investigator to try to make some calls and investigate and stuff like that too. So there's some things that Vic and Ty could have done in sort of discovery before they ever filed the lawsuit. There's some things that, based on their own knowledge, they could have investigated. And it wasn't clear that they did that, even though they're in control of their timing. So knowing that if Ty knew the TCPA was coming, then it made a lot more sense to try to discover some of this stuff up front because the TCPA is coming, and that didn't seem to be done. Yeah. The TCPA is a stupid law that's gotten many meritorious lawsuits dismissed. Well, that's a policy issue, and whether it's a stupid law or not is a judgment call. It is law, though, so either way. It halts discovery for 90 days, making sure they can't get more evidence to bring to the court. Well, that's not strictly speaking true. It just prevents formal discovery process. But as I point out, there might be other ways to go about it. I hope the arguments are better in the appeal. The weakest torts in the case are tortious interference with contract for Jamie, Margie, and Funimation. It's very strong with Monica and Ron. All defamation torts are good, and vicarious liability is good with Funimation. Vicarious liability is not good with Funimation because under the relevant case law, they have to be employees, and they are not employees. They're contractors. So Funimation does not have a vicarious liability thing. I think conspiracy is also likely. Man, I just keep wondering where the Discord is. Why didn't you have evidence of that? That's what I want to know. Thomas says when TCPA motion is filed, all investigations put on hold. To be able to get evidence, they need to get past the TCPA. See, that's not strictly speaking true, Thomas. The TCPA freezes formal discovery. It freezes formal discovery. But you can still do informal discovery. Like, you can still, and you could file it before you ever filed it. You can't have a TCPA to a lawsuit that doesn't exist. So there was stuff you could have done before the TCPA was an issue. This guy says, what do you mean by define words in law? There are multiple types of law. Which law are you talking about? It's a very general statement. I don't know what that is in response to. All right. Well, I'm going to end the stream because this is just a quick catch up. So let's all raid Nate together. Is Nate still going? Yeah, Nate is still going because Nate is a champion. So we're all going to go to Nate's stream, and I'm going to give you the link, and we all need to like come up with something to raid him with. So what should our phrase be? What should we raid him with? Let's just raid him with uncivil raid. Why not? So just go to this link. Just go to this link and go to his chat and just type in uncivil raid. Raid. Yeah, just go there and type in uncivil raid, and we will show Nate a little love. All right, I am going to end the stream. I hope you enjoyed this. We will talk to you all later. All right, bye for now.